What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Craftavore Taste, and today we are digging into a beer from Lawson's Finest Liquids out of Waitsfield, Vermont. This is none other than Chinooker'd. Yeah, man. So Chinooker'd is an IPA coming in at 6.5% ABV. That's brewed exclusively with Chinook hops. Yeah, so super excited to get into this guy, man. Actually, I think this might be the first Lawson's Finest Liquids beer that I'm featuring on the channel. I know I did a collaboration that they had done with them in Two Roads almost a year ago now, I think. But I think this is actually the first Lawson's only beer I've done, which is kind of interesting that I have never done Sip of Sunshine. But yeah, so anyway, before I dive into the beer, I was actually listening to an episode podcast called Steal This Beer. It's hosted by Augie Carton, owner of Carton Brewing Company out of Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey, and John Hall. Basically they had, it's a podcast where they kind of do interviews with folks around within the beer industry, and Sean Lawson was a recent guest, and I was listening to this podcast, and he was kind of talking about beers like Chinooker'd, which was one of their original kind of IPA recipes that they had brewed a number of years ago when basically the brewery was basically located at Sean Lawson's house. And obviously, if you follow craft beer, if you follow the happenings in Vermont, you'll know that Lawson's Finest Liquids finally opened up a tasting room, retail space, etc. in Waitsfield, whereas the brewery in Warren, Vermont, which was the original one, was actually, yeah, like I said, located basically on this property, and you couldn't go there. They were not open to the public, etc. And he also said that basically he was only producing as of a number of years ago, where he decided to contract out some beers at Two Roads, mainly Sip of Sunshine and their Session series of IPAs, that the Warren Brewery was only able to kick out 425 barrels a year, which I thought was kind of nuts, unless I heard him wrong. Like, I thought that was kind of crazy. And then when he went on and kind of did the contract with Two Roads to brew Sip of Sunshine, which kind of expanded Lawson's into states all across the Northeast, and it's basically that contract and that ability to brew Sip of Sunshine at scale and their session beers at scale is essentially what paid for their ability to open up, like I said, their new brewery and new location in Waitsfield, Vermont, which has a full tasting room, retail store you can visit, etc. All right, and so Chinooker'd is an old recipe that they had previously done, but it is now brewed in their new Waitsfield, Vermont location. All right, so let's go ahead and get straight into the drill, man. Let's pop a top on this guy, take a look at the appearance, get the aroma, taste it, and then, of course, we're going to rate it. All right, so we're keeping it in Vermont style. I don't have any Lawson's glasses, so we're going to go straight uphill Farmstead. Hope you don't mind. We're just going to pop a top on this guy, get it into a glass, and get straight into the drill. All right. How does she look? All right, so that beer is nice little kind of unfiltered kind of chill haze going on there. It is medium to medium light, almost straw yellow kind of color. What I find always so interesting about Lawson's beers is oftentimes Lawson's Finest Liquids and folks like The Alchemist are always going to be kind of considered the forefathers of the New England style IPA. But when you take a look at actually those beers, they certainly don't look like what modern New England style IPAs look like today, right? They're definitely what you would almost consider on the clear spectrum. But yeah, so moderate kind of like a little bit of chill, unfiltered kind of haze going on there. Beer looks awesome. Got about a finger of this kind of like rocky, kind of like pillowy, almost eggshell head. Looks awesome. Let's go ahead and dive our nose into it. Get an aroma. Yeah, so straight up off the nose, dank, piney, resiny, all those things that you're going to get out of Chinook hops. A little bit of earthiness, a little bit of grassiness. Straight up out of the gate, man, that's like West Coast vibes, right? It's coming out of this beer. No question about it. Single hop with Chinook. Definitely what you would consider a bit more kind of West Coast in nature in terms of how the beer's aroma kind of sits and what kind of permeates out of the glass. Or you could even say almost a little bit more old schoolish if you kind of consider the New England style IPA has if you consider the New England IPA as becoming the dominant IPA style in the East Coast, which essentially it has, yeah, you can kind of consider this to be like almost a little bit old school, where it's that kind of West Coast leaning, right, East Coast kind of hybrid. Smells freaking awesome. Let's go ahead and get a taste. Cheers. Oh, I love it. Oh my God. So first taste, crisp, clean, huge blast of bitterness, straight up, right on the palate when it hits you. Grassy, dank, bitterness is lingering on, and it's kind of doing it in such a fun way where it's coating the palate there. And yeah, it's one of those scenarios where, again, it is crisp, it is clean, it is bone dry, it is West Coast style in nature. And that bitterness is kind of hanging out there, that it's just a refreshing break. Kind of old school, kind of freaking cool. Absolutely love it. Hops are pungent, going back in for another taste. Oh, I think that's freaking awesome. Super, super refreshing as well. Again, super, super bone dry. But there are kind of elements of like that dirty, kind of dank, kind of piney, kind of resiny characteristic going on. Mostly kind of dominated with a bit more of kind of like bitter grapefruit kind of going on. Like that is freaking awesome. A phenomenal freaking departure from, obviously, you know, haze and juice bombs and all that other freaking other stuff. One last sip and then we're going to give her a rating. Oh, I'm in love with that beer. I'm absolutely in love with that. That is freaking awesome. All right. Rating time. So, Chinooker'd by Lawson's Finest Liquids, 6.5% ABV, brewed 100% with Chinook hops. Straight up out of the gate, 4.35 caps. Don't even need to think about it. That is a... It is a throwback. It is old school, but it's everything that I kind of want. It's everything that I kind of want in an IPA when I need to break through the haze clutter. And so I think it's freaking awesome that it's 2019 and Sean Lawson doesn't give a shit. He wants to brew the beers that he wants to make. And what you consider, and you could consider obviously what he's doing right now as to be precursors of what has become the dominant New England IPA style here in the Northeast. These are straight up kind of older school, awesomely brewed beers with West Coast IPA influences, with pungent kind of hop aromas and tastes that, in my opinion, are timeless. And we need more of these beers. And I'm super, super stoked that the brewery is now open and I'm able to kind of get these cans. Sean Lawson's Finest Liquids now being distributed into 8 states, including New York. So that is awesome. All right, so 4.35 caps for the Chinooker'd from Lawson's Finest Liquids. That'll do it for this episode of the Craftavore Taste. I hope you join me again for another episode where I drink, I review, I rate, and then I repeat. Cheers, guys.